baby.
What's up, Fabs and Besties? I don't know about you, but I've been jamming to BTS Dynamite since it came out. So today, we are going to make a room inspired by the beginning of the music video. I love the room that Jungkook was in, so let's make it. Well, as close as we can. I'm using foam board for the floor. There's a bed against one wall, then an open floor space that looks like the width of the bed twice. So if we're gonna use 6 inches for the bed, we need a room that's at least 18 inches across. Use a ruler and a pencil to make a mark at 18. But keep in mind, we do have walls, so that's gonna add probably about another ½ inch onto this floor plan. So let's do it at 18.5 inches. Then draw a line all the way across the foam board. This foam board is 20 inches wide, so we have a rectangle that is 20 by 8.5. On the back wall, there is a little recess right about here. Let's make that 4.5 inches. Draw a rectangle that is 4.5 by 2 inches. Continue the line going all the way across the back of the board, because this is where we're going to build the wall, so that is a recess. Let's trim off the excess to get that 18.5 by 20 inch rectangle. But hang on to this foam board, we can totally use this later. There's a door on this wall here, and I want the wall to extend about 4 inches above the door. So I'm going to cut a 16 by 20 rectangle of foam board. We are going to glue this right onto the side, but before we do, I made a printable of a door. I pretty much took a picture of a door in my house. So it might not be perfectly straight because, you know, angles and stuff. But this is a great way to add a little detail without doing too much work. So let's cut it out, overlap, and glue the two pieces together, then glue it onto the wall. I'm gonna glue it about 3 inches from the edge. I just think it'll be easier to glue the door on while the wall is flat. Now let's go vertical and glue the wall in place. Now that that wall is up, let's add a small one in the back. That is 4.25 inches wide and 16 inches long. Now this wall does have a small window on it, but I think we can glue it on afterwards for placing. So right now, I'm just gonna glue it right onto the side. I am using foam board, but of course you can always substitute cardboard for foam board. For this tiny piece here, we need to cut a 1 3/4 inch strip that is 16 inches high, glue it right onto the side, and I use hot glue to glue all of my foam board into place. For this wall here, a portion needs to be slanted, so we are going to make the wall opposite of the door first. This wall goes up and then over, so we're going to need to make it in 2 separate pieces. First, we do the part that goes up. I cut a 4 inch by 20 inch rectangle, and I'm going to glue it right onto the side. Our back wall needs to be 13 and a little more than 3/4 of an inch, and 16 inches tall. And I just cut a large rectangle because I'm going to make this a little easier on myself and just glue that in place. Now we can just cut a piece of foam board and glue it slanted right onto the wall to get the same effect. Now this room is a little more narrow than I planned, so we're going to make the bed just 5 inches and make a mark on the top of the wall just over 5 inches. Measure the foam board to the mark, then cut it down to size. But before we glue it into place, we need to cut out a large window right about here. I drew a 5 by 7 rectangle, 1 inch from the bottom and 5 inches over from the side. Cut it out. When we add this wall right here and a ceiling, this room is going to be pretty dark. So let's go ahead and cut out a window on that small wall back there. I moved the house so the wall is on the ground. I made a window frame printable, cut out the smaller window, cut out the center, trace the cutout onto the wall, then very carefully cut it out. This is a lot easier to do before the wall is glued in place. So if you want windows, cut them out before. Cut clear plastic from packaging, glue it onto the back of the window, glue a small piece of trim from the printable onto the center of the foam cutout, cut it out, glue it into the window, then glue the printable frame around it to make a window that lets in a little light. Back to this wall, take the cutout and make the window just like that one. Yeah, this was so much easier to do before we glued it to the wall. This is going to go right back here, but first we need to make a box. Cut 2-inch strips of foam board and glue them around the outer edge of the window to make a box. Glue the box behind the cutout on the wall, then glue it onto the room. I can see a little bit of light shining through, so let's go to the other side and glue foam board over the line. In the video, the floor was covered with a red and gold colored carpet. I wasn't able to find anything like that, so I'm going to cover the floor with wood grain scrapbook paper. I'm using a glue stick. Wow, that instantly transformed the room. Glue a 1-inch strip onto the back wall, cut 1/4-inch strips, glue them around the door and the bottom of the walls for baseboards and trim. Take a large rectangle of foam board and glue it on top. Add another strip of foam in the corner of the ceiling. Now this totally feels like a room, but because we put a ceiling on it, it is a little dark. I'm going to use an LED puck light. Just add batteries and use double-sided tape to attach it to the ceiling. Then just tap the light to turn it on. Whoa, this totally feels like a real room. Cut a 4.5 by 12-inch rectangle of foam board and 2-inch strips of foam to go around the sides. Glue the 2-inch strips together to make a box. Cover the large rectangle with fabric, gluing it over the edges. Glue the two pieces together to make a bed to go in the corner. Cut large rectangles of fabric. I'm using a plaid. Pick a coordinating fabric, match them up raw edge to raw edge with the good side on the inside. Sew around the edges, leaving an opening so it can be turned inside out. Sew the opening closed to make a blanket. It needs to look like someone hasn't made their bed. Make another one and lay it on the floor. For a rug, fill them with fluff to make pillows to complete the bedding. Now let's make a desk. I made a printable. It is 3 pages. On page 3, there's a template. Everything is labeled, and I'm going to just cut it out. I glue them onto black foam board, cut them out. So we have the front of the desk, 2 desk legs, and the desktop. I cut one more piece of foam board that is 2 inches by 7. Use the other 2 printables to cover the foam board. The front of the desk has a lot of tabs to wrap around the edges to give us a clean finish. We have 4 covered pieces and 1 that's still black. Glue the front to the legs, glue the black foam in the back, glue on the top to make a desk. Now we're going to bring in one of our beach chairs to use with the desk. Wow, that looks pretty cool. I'm going to use the same technique to make a dresser. For the dresser, we have 2 templates, the front, and we printed 2 pages of the wood grain. Cut out the templates, glue them onto foam board, cut them out, glue on the wood grain, take the front and glue on the sides, glue on the top and the bottom for an easy dresser to go on the side wall. Okay, our little inspired room is looking pretty good. Time to go crazy with posters. I made a printable of BTS themed posters. This one says Dynamite. Right here we have one inspired by the Beatles. A couple of shots from my Instagram to give us some BTS inspired clutter. And I made some random pages with a bunch of stuff. Then I used my printer settings to print some smaller to give us some variation in size. Cut them out, glue them onto an index card, cut it out. To make a miniature poster, I'm going to use some poster putty on the back and the corners to stick it to the wall. To save a little time, we can also print on cardstock. I like using the poster putty because it's not permanent. If we want, we can move the posters around. I found a small circle mirror. I'm painting the edges black. Glue on ribbon. Cut a sewing pin. Push it into the wall. Secure the other side. I used a little bit of hot glue, so we have a way to hang the mirror. Let's add the computer from our 2020 school supplies video to the desk. Let's add pencils. Cut a small piece of a white glue stick. Cut a small piece of a clear glue stick. Glue it to the bottom of the white one. Wrap it with clear tape. Seal the sticky side of the tape with nail polish to make a glass of milk. We are going to put that right on the edge of the desk. Let's add a guitar. We bought this from the Tiny Frog Shop. Let's hang some Barbie jeans over the back of the chair. I took the bench from our doll backstage dressing room video. I cut it down, and let's place it at the bottom of the bed. Add a yellow backpack from a previous video. Cut a small piece of a t-shirt. This is like an 8x7. Lay it on the bench at the bottom of the bed. Place a few books from our printables on the dresser for some more clutter. I made a surfboard printable, but I'm thinking it's a little too large, so I printed it at 75%, and I think this is a good size. We have two different ones. I'm gonna go with the yellow, so let's cut that out. I rounded off the top a little, glue it onto recycled paperboard, cut it out, repeat a few times to make it thicker. I'm gonna glue the brown printable onto the back so it's double-sided. Let's place that on the bed to finish our BTS Dynamite inspired room. There is a lot going on in this space with all the posters, that glass of milk, the messy bed, and that window bringing in some light. In the video, the room had kind of a yellow hue, but all I had was white foam board. So I'm using a small light that has a yellow gel on top to give the room a little yellow glow. The light definitely warms up this space, and if we take it outside the window, it creates great lighting for the room. Look at all those shadows. Thank you for joining us while we made a room inspired by the record-breaking music video Dynamite by BTS. We will post a link in the description box below for our printables. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and the Frog Vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!